Well, welcome to the Vineyard, everybody. Welcome to those of you watching and listening online. My name is Kevin. I'm one of the pastors, and you picked a great weekend to be here at Miami Vineyard. In fact, why don't you turn to somebody right next to you right now, look at them and tell them, you picked a great weekend to be here. Go tell them, you picked a great weekend to be here. And now look at them and tell them, and you get to sit next to me. Go tell them, and you get to sit next to me. You're going, now why? Why? Because listen, this weekend we are kicking off a brand new series we're calling Unshakable. Talking about how we can thrive no matter what life throws at you. And so to kind of get us in kind of understanding what this kind of series is going to be about. How many of you know the name T'Challa? Anybody? How about Wakanda? How about Black Panther? Anybody see the movie Black Panther? Okay, all right, quite a few of you. Now, if you didn't see the movie, okay, the Black Panther wears this suit made out of this material called, anybody? Vibranium. And here's what vibranium does, and this is so interesting about the Black Panther. Vibranium is this material that when he gets in a fight, Black Panther, when he gets shot at or kicked or hit or whatever, vibranium absorbs the blow, stores it, converts it, and then sends it out with more power than when it came. That's what vibranium does. Now think about how powerful this is in our life. That when adversity happens to us, things happen to us, we take it in, we store it, convert it, and we become stronger than we were before. As that great theologian Kelly Clarkson has said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, it's exactly what this series is going to be about. Now, in this series, we're going to be looking at a guy named Daniel. Now, Daniel didn't have a suit of vibranium, but Daniel had faith. And we're looking at how this is so similar to what we're going to be talking about today. And so, let me give a little background here for this series here about this guy named Daniel. Daniel was a guy in the Bible a couple thousand years ago, incredible guy. But his life was not an easy life. Daniel, at the age of 15, his country experiences war, and he gets hauled off as a prisoner of war at 15 years of age. He's taken away from his family, from his country, from everything he knows. He would never see his parents again. He would never see his family again. He would never see his homeland of Israel again. He would spend the rest of his life in a foreign, hostile, enemy culture. But by the end of his life, this guy Daniel became the second most powerful person in the entire empire of a foreign empire. So what happened? Well, it wasn't just some meteoric rise to fame, not at all. This guy Daniel experienced all kinds of adversity, including being tossed alive into a hungry den of lions. And you think you've had a rough life just cheering for the Dolphins. And so, but this man Daniel, throughout everything he experienced, he didn't just survive, he thrived. He was unshakable. And so for the next 7 weeks, we're going to be unpacking this story of Daniel and how he faced this adversity and how he became the person that he came. And so listen, you got to make plans right now to be here for all 7 weeks. I don't care how you get here, if you drive here, swim here, walk here, you have abuelita drive you here, whatever it takes. You got to be here for all 7 weeks of this series. And what we're going to see in this series is it's amazing to me how this event, Daniel's life, a couple thousand years ago, how similar it is to us living our lives in Miami in 2019. It's going to blow your mind how similar this is. And so what I want to do today is just kind of set up the theme of this as we begin part one of this series. So inside your program, there's an outline. You might want to grab that and pull it off for just a moment. There's a green pen if you want to take some notes here and in a little bit on the backside. It's up to you. But I want you to notice, okay, here on your outlines is the story of Daniel. Here's chapter 1, verse 1. I just want to kind of go through kind of the kind of beginning of this a little bit here today together. So here we go. Verse 1 says, during the 3rd year of King Jehoiakim's reign in Judah, King Nebuchadnezzar, he's the bad guy, King Nebi of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. Would you circle that word, besieged it? Besieged it. Besieged it. What is besieged? Besieged means you're surrounded by adversity, surrounded. Have you ever felt besieged? It feels like everything and everyone is against you. All the bills hitting you at the same time. All the kids getting sick at the same time. All the traffic on the expressway going down to one lane at the same time. Or you get up in the middle of the night, you head to the kitchen, you turn on the light, and there's not one cockroach, there's an army of cockroaches. You are besieged. Or perhaps, maybe it's a little bigger stuff. Maybe you feel besieged at work. Everyone seems to be coming against you. Maybe you're besieged by multiple health issues. Or maybe you're besieged in your relationships, like you have multiple relationships kind of all crumbling at the same time. And it seems like things are just falling apart. It's being surrounded by adversity. That's being besieged. That's exactly how Daniel and his people felt. They were besieged by King Nebuchadnezzar, the bad guy, by his army. And so we'll pick up some more of the story. And so then the king ordered his chief of staff to bring to the palace some of the young men of Judah's royal family and other noble families who had been brought to Babylon as captives. He told them, look, select only the best looking, strongest, and smartest young men and bring them to my palace. Now pause there for a moment. Think about this. Louis says, select only the best looking, strongest, and smartest young men. Folks, think about this. This again, a couple thousand years ago. Those are the same 3 values we find in our culture today. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's beauty, brains, and brawn. You got those things? That's what culture looks at today. That's what culture wants to get after today. That's what it's all about, academics, athletics, appearance. And so when I said you're going to see the parallels of this story with Miami in 2019, you're going to see a lot of parallels with Miami in 2019. It's unbelievable to me that these are the same 3 things that happened a couple thousand years ago, folks. Not a lot changes in a couple thousand years. But Daniel must have had those 3 things because he was selected. So, look at the next part. It says, make sure, so these men, so they're picking not just Daniel, they're picking young men. They're picking Jewish young men who got taken away into captivity. He says, okay, so let's choose them, let's bring them to the palace, and let's make sure that they are well-versed in every branch of learning, are gifted with knowledge and good judgment, and are suited to serve in the royal palace. Train these young men in the language and literature of Babylon. So the king assigned them a daily ration of food and wine from his own kitchens. They were to be trained for 3 years, and then they would enter the royal service. So Daniel and his 3 friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, were 4 of the young men chosen, all from the tribe of Judah. The chief of staff renamed them with these Babylonian names, and then you can see those names that he renamed them. So what's going on here? Here's what's happening here. This 15-year-old boy, Daniel's world is being rocked. It's being absolutely turned upside down. This 15-year-old kid is taken and given a new name. You're not Daniel anymore. Now you're this name. And everything he believed in is turned upside down and on its head, and we're going to reprogram you. So they're systematically reprogramming these young men. Let me ask you a question. If you're a 15-year-old kid, would you say your life has just been shaken up a little bit? Hello. I mean, it's just everything you know. You're carried off as a prisoner of war. You're in a foreign country, in a foreign nation, a foreign language. And it's been 3 years now reshaping everything you knew. But in spite of all this, you got to know, in spite of all this, in spite of a country and a nation that didn't even believe in God, they believed in other gods, Daniel became this great, great man of God. He was promoted 5 different times. And Daniel, over the course of his 85 years of life, he goes on to lead 2 of the future emperors to faith in the living God. I mean, this was a man. This was a guy. And so for today, we're not going to be unpacking Daniel's life any more than that. That's just kind of whet your appetite for what's going to happen here in the upcoming weeks. So for the rest of the time we have today, I want to look at the theme of the entire book of Daniel. And here it is. What do you do when your life is upended? When your world is shaken up by death, by divorce, by failure, by bankruptcy, by betrayal, by a health issue, by someone who by someone who did the unthinkable to you, by an expressway ramp coming in right outside the front doors. How do you not just survive, but how do you thrive? That's what we're going to be looking at today. And so today, what I want to do is I just want to, what do you do when your world is shaken up? Okay, we'll talk about this today. And so I just want to give you two thoughts. Okay, just two thoughts. You might take that outline, flip it over to the backside. I just want to give you two thoughts today. Just two thoughts. And these two thoughts are going to give you perspective. See, when perspective is a gift, because when I can look at something from a different way, it changes everything. This past week I got a phone call from one of my daughters. We have 5 kids. Some of you know that my wife and I, Debbie, have 5 kids. 2 of them are still in college, and 3 of them are out past college. And so this is one of my past college girls calling me, and she said, Dad, I just took my car in for an oil change, and I paid a bill of $700. I said, for an oil change? Well, she said, yeah, I went in, Dad, for $29.95 oil change, and then I got in there, and they told me my back brakes were bad, they needed to be replaced, and this was bad, and the shocks were bad, and so, Dad, $700. I said, wow. And then I said, okay, honey. I said, okay, let's look at it this way. I said, your car's paid for, right? Yeah, Dad, you bought it for me. Yeah, I did, yeah. What we do in our family is I have bought all of my kids their first car used, not new, used. If you buy them a new car, it can only go downhill from there. They get a used car from me, a good used car from me, and then after that, they're on their own. So I said, honey, okay, let's think about this together. I said, right, you don't have a car payment. No. I said, do you know how much a car payment is? No. I said, well, let's just take an average car payment is $300 a month. Okay, think about it. Every month. She goes, really? I said, yeah. I said, every month you're paying $300. But think about it. You're not doing that. So you just got a repair done to your car. Maybe that's 2 car payments. But let's say you don't have to get another repair done. You got the next 6 to 8 months of no bills. She said, Dad, thank you. She sends me, about 5 minutes later, she sends me a text. Thanks, Dad, with a big red heart on it, big red emoji. Because what did I do for her? I gave her what? Perspective. I gave her perspective. So let me help you right now. Let me help give you perspective on when problems happen to us in life, okay? Here we go. Here's number 1. Number 1 says this: don't be surprised by adversity. It's going to happen. Problems, adversity are part of life. Notice what the Bible says. It says, dear friends, don't be shocked or surprised when you suffer through painful tests and trials, as if something strange were happening to you. He's simply saying what we know to be true. Shake-ups, problems, adversity, they're a normal part of life living in a broken world. Folks, this is earth. This isn't heaven. I know living in Miami in February when it's 80 degrees and all your friends are freezing their butts off in the rest of the country, this still isn't heaven. This is earth, and on earth, think about it, on earth, nothing works right. Everything is broken in one way or another because of sin. Every relationship is broken. The physical body is broken. Our minds are broken. The weather is broken. Politics are broken. Our football team is broken. I mean, it's just all broken. So, here's the deal. We should not be expecting everything to be perfect on this planet, but yet we do, all the time. So when something bad happens, our first response is, why me? When our first response should really be, why not me? Why not me? Why not me? We live in a broken world on a broken planet. Nothing works right. And so we always say, why me? Why me? Why me? There's going to be sufferings. There's going to be trials. Don't be surprised by it. But you say, but Pastor Kevin, I'm a follower of Jesus. Okay, look at the next verse. Jesus said these words to his followers, to Christians. He said, in this world you might experience difficulty. Is that what he said? No, he said, in this world what? You Yeah, circle that word, will. You will, you will, you will. He's speaking to Christians. You will experience difficulties. You will. He said, you will. He said, adversity is part of life. Listen, he said, I hate to break it to you, but adversity is part of life. Problems are going to happen. Shaking is going to happen. You will have problems in life. You are going to have time when your world is tossed upside down and everything around you is just shaking to the core. And you're going to wonder, what in the world is happening to me right now? Your world is going to happen. It's going to happen. If it hasn't happened, it will happen. It's going to happen. But look what Jesus went on to say. He said, but take heart. He said, don't worry, take heart. I've conquered this world. I told you this so that in trusting in me, look what it says, you will be, what's it say? Unshakable and deeply at peace. You will be unshakable. He says adversity is going to happen, but you're going to be unshakable. But let's be honest. When problems happen, this is not where we normally go. You know, we go like, why me? I don't understand why. And then what we try to do is we try to figure out where the problem's coming from. We try to figure out the source of the problem. We try to figure out who's to blame, whose fault is it. But listen, here's the problem with that. As long as you're, and this is true for life. As long as you're fixing the blame, you can never fix the problem. Tweet that. As long as you're fixing blame, you can never fix the problem. Because blaming someone or blaming something never solves a problem. It might make you feel a little better, but it never solves anything. But just so you know, okay, we're just talking here today. Just so you know, there are 3 sources of problems that come into our lives. And if you're taking notes, here we go. Let me just give you quickly 3 sources of problems that come into our life. Here's the first source. The first source is me. So fill that blank in with Pastor Kevin. No, I'm just kidding. Fill it in with me, with you, me, us, it's you and me. And here's the truth. You, us, me, I am my biggest problem. You are your biggest problem. We don't like to admit it, but we are our biggest problem. I cause myself more pain, more heartache, and more headaches than everything else combined. We all do. It's part of being human. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever said or done something stupid you later regretted? Can I see your hands? Come on. Okay, if your hand's not up, you need to bow your head right now and say, God, I just lied in front of you, in front of Pastor Kevin, in church. Okay, we are. This is the reality. Because all of us are born with a sinful nature, and a sinful nature makes us make stupid, bonehead decisions and say stupid, bonehead things. But you're going, Pastor Kevin, wait, Pastor Kevin, I made a decision to follow Christ. I made a decision to become a Christian. Isn't that supposed to change? Absolutely it changes. But it doesn't completely go away. Just think what your life would be like if you hadn't made that decision. See, here's the deal. Yes, God changes us, but we are being changed until Jesus Christ returns. We never arrive. We never get completely changed. We're changing. And then one day when Jesus comes back, the Bible says we're going to be changed in the twinkling of an eye. And then it's going to be a different world entirely. But until that time happens, I hate to break it to you, you probably got 1 or 2 bonehead decisions left to make. So do I. Because we all do, because we're born with this sinful nature. So 3 sources of problems. First one is you, me. Here's the second one. Second source of problems is this world. As we mentioned before, this world is not a perfect place. Because of sin, the world is broken. The entire planet is broken. Because of that, bad stuff happens. We see it all over the place. Natural disasters, war, famine, floods, hurricanes, diseases, genocide, rape, murder, racism. We could go on and on and on and on. Okay, so this world is a source of problems because we live in a broken world. And then here's the third one. Here's the third source of problems. Cats. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's the third source of my problems. Here's the third source of problems. You ready? Satan. 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 Are you saying, Pastor Kevin, you believe in a real devil? Absolutely, I do. And listen, you can choose to believe in a real devil or not, but that does not change the reality that there is one. You can say, I don't believe in the devil as long as you want, but that doesn't mean he don't exist. You can't change reality because of what you believe in. Reality is reality. And there's a real devil. And it's after your soul. Now, we don't got to be scared of the devil, but we should respect him. We should be, because he's got a lot more power than you. Not a lot more power than Jesus, but a lot more power than you. So listen, don't mess with the devil. Don't go out looking for a fight with the devil, because he's got a lot more power than you do. Now listen, he's after. So listen, he's after you. He's after me. He's after us. And so he does not want you to be everything God designed you to be. Here's Satan's job description: kill, steal, destroy. That's what he does. 3 things: kill, steal, destroy. But the Bible says that Jesus said, I have come to give you life, and to give you life everlasting and abundantly. In fact, look what the Bible says in the next verse. It says, he who is in you, meaning Jesus in you, is greater than he who is in the world, meaning the devil. That the Jesus in you is greater than he who's in the devil. So the devil's after you. But listen, you got to understand this. Compared to God, the devil can't hold a candle compared to the power of God. The devil is simply God's puppet. It's like a flea compared to an elephant. That's the power. That's the power gradient there. But to us, listen, don't. So I'm just telling you. So I don't want to tell you to scare you. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to tell you to tap into your real power source, and that is Jesus Christ. He's your real power source. As we said in 1 John 4:4, he who's in you is greater than he who's in the world. So perspective. Okay, today's all about perspective. So there's 3 sources of problems, right? So it said, don't be surprised at problems. Problems are going to happen. Let me give you another perspective here today. Let me give you another perspective. Here is what every problem is in our life. Every problem is this. And I didn't leave a spot on your notes for this, so you can just squeeze this in anywhere. Every problem is this. Every problem is an opportunity. Every problem is an opportunity. No matter what you have going on, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for God to show up in our lives, to teach us things, to create character in us, to do all kinds of things in us and through us. Every problem is an opportunity that God can use, but we got to give it to God. Every problem is an opportunity God can use. Every problem is an opportunity God can use. In fact, look what this next verse says. And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good. Now notice, it doesn't say God causes everything. God does not cause everything. God is not capable of evil. He doesn't cause everything, but he can cause everything to work together for good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Every problem is an opportunity for God to demonstrate his power and his presence and his ability to take what the enemy meant for evil and can turn it into good. Everyone, you're going, whoa, somebody going, wait, just wait, time out there, preacher boy. Are you saying that God can use even the bad things in my life? Yes. Are you saying, Pastor Kevin, that God can use even the stuff other people have done to me? Yes. And listen, I know this could be some of you in this room today. Painful, horrific, ugly things have been done to you at the hands of somebody else. And I just want to say to you, I'm so sorry. But I'm telling you, if we give them to God, God can bring good out of it. If we give them to God. You're saying, Pastor Kevin, even the times I've messed up, yes. Even the dumb decisions I make, yes. God can use them for our good. Because only God can turn crucifixions into resurrections. Only God can bring good out of bad. But we've got to trust him. We've got to trust him. We've got to give them to God. It's called surrender. It's called going all in with God. So regardless of what your shaking may be today, you say, I lost my job. I can't get married. I want this and it hasn't happened yet. I have this dream. I've hit a barrier. Listen, regardless of what your shaking may look like and what your problem may look like, the source isn't nearly as important as our response. So, number 1 says, don't be surprised by adversity. It's going to happen. And here's number 2. And we've been talking about this already. Number 2 says, look for ways that God can use it for good. That when problems come, I'm going to do more than just survive. I am looking for ways to thrive. In the midst of chaos, in the midst of shaking, I got to look for ways that God can use it for good. Some of you know that before I was a pastor here at this church, I was a school teacher here in Miami-Dade County. I taught at Mays Junior High, which is down south here of the county, for 7 years. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. I did not want to teach at Mays. And here's why. See, before I moved here, I was attending college in a small Christian college in Iowa. And so, but I had been to Miami now several times on spring break and visited and realized I was going to be moving here and wanted to live here. And so I had some friends that I made some friends here in Miami. And so they knew I was going to come down here to teach school, probably somewhere in the southwest part of the county. And they said, Kevin, they said, whatever you do, don't go to Mays. I didn't know anything about Mays, right? Nothing. But they said, whatever you do. I said, why? And so the guy, lifts up his pant leg right here and shows me an 8-inch scar he has on his calf of a knife fight he got into at Mays. I said, okay, not going to Mays. Got that. Thank you very much. So here I am, college senior, education major, also business major, doing my homework. Okay, so here's what I did. I sent a letter of application and a resume, my resume, to every, because I was secondary education, I sent it to every middle school and high school from Flagler Street all the way down to Florida City, which is almost 100 schools. I sent my letter of application and my resume to every school except Mays. Every school except Mays, because I didn't want to teach at Mays. But here's what now again, I don't know the way it works anymore, so because I haven't been in the education world in a while, but back in the day, when I was here, when I started teaching school back in 1985. So back in the day, when I was at Mays, here's how it worked in the county. So all that work I did to send out all that stuff, it didn't matter a whole lot. I didn't know that because of this. What they did back in the day is you go downtown Miami to the Department of Education and you interview with somebody, not at the school, at the Department of Education. And based upon your resume, based upon your ethnicity, based upon your age, based upon your gender, they place you where they need you. And because I was young, and I was Anglo, and because I was a male, they placed me at Mays. Because Mays at that time was 90% African American, 9% Hispanic, 1% white, and that was me. And before I got to Mays, it was 0% white. I was a 1%. And then again, this is back in the day. I'm not sure what they do now, but back in the day, here's the deal. So they placed me at Mays. And so, but if I didn't want to go to Mays, they didn't leave me a big option. Either I went to Mays or I didn't teach anywhere in the county for a year. So that's how they get folks to go to those schools that aren't always the most desirable locations, if you will. So here I am, 22 years old. Think about it. Fresh out of the cornfields of Iowa. Fresh off the dairy farm in Green Bay. This is my experience. And coming down here, and a friend showed me an 8-inch scar he had on his leg at Mays. And of all the schools I could have picked for me to go to, Mays. I've got to tell you, I'm 22 years old. I am shaking on the inside. I am trembling on the inside. I don't know anything about Maze. All I know is my friend's story. And that was enough for me. I'm thinking that's going to be my calf in a little while. And not only that, but I was hired to teach computers, and I didn't even know how to turn one on. And when I interviewed with the principal at Maze, I said, you realize I don't know how to turn one on? He said, yeah, but you're young, you can learn. So this is my welcome to the world of education. Welcome to Miami. Can I tell you, my world was turned upside down. I was mad at God. I'm going, God, I did everything right. I did all my homework. I sent a letter to every school but this school, and this is where you stick me. I was angry. My whole world was turned upside down. But can I tell you, today, looking back at those 7 years, those were some of the best 7 years of my life. Because God knows what I need more than I know what I need. God knows what you need more than you know what you need. And God will lead us into places and spaces where we think, God, what in the world are you up to? But God always has a plan, and he always has something he's leading us to. Listen, can I just tell you, this church, Miami Vineyard Community Church, would not look like it does today in our multiculturalism and our multi-ethnicity that this church looks like today if I didn't have those 7 years at Maze. Those years changed my world, changed my life, changed my perspective. And I'm grateful for those 7 years I had at Maze. And so, listen, when problems or opportunities, now I got to be honest with you. I did not look at that situation as an opportunity. No, not at all. But if we can, again, I was just 22, but listen, if we can have the maturity to look at this as an opportunity, it'll change everything. So, this weekend, we kick off this series, Unshakable. In addition to kicking off 7-part series on the weekend, we're also kicking off 7 weeks of small groups. And I'm asking you, would you plug into one of our small groups for the next 7 weeks? Because each week what happens, you take what we teach on the weekend and we press it in further in the small groups. And you get a chance to talk about it, a chance to dialogue about it, a chance to meet some new people. Because listen, we will never be everything God designed us to be by living this life alone. We need other people who are on the same spiritual journey that we are. And so inside your program today, would you locate this flyer that's inside your program today? Front and the back, dozens and dozens of small groups that are going to be kicking off in this church for the next 7 weeks. And I want to invite you, challenge you, encourage you to plug into one of these small groups for the next 7 weeks. So when you leave today, bunch of tables out there in that hallway. Go to any table. They can help you plug into a small group. If you've already went to those tables last week, you don't got to go again, you're good. But listen, if you don't want to go to a table, it's too busy, or you just don't want to talk to somebody, check out this flyer on the back side. Put your name, email, and a phone number to contact you at, and the small group leader will contact you. And just drop this form into the bucket. Again, if you've already signed up for a group, you don't need to do this. But we're trying to get as many of us in small groups as we can because of the value of small groups. And we believe the value of small groups here at this church, in life groups. So just check, but don't check 3 or 4 groups, okay? Check one group. Check one group. Check one group. One group that you think might work for you. And then drop it off in that bucket. That's going to come up and down your row here in just a moment. So let me wrap this up today. Then we're going to pray. Your problems are not your problems. You going, huh? Your problems are not your problems. Our problem is the way we respond to our problems. And if we respond to them in a godly way, it can absolutely transform your life. Let's pray together. So as your heads are bowed and your eyes are closed, just a simple way of connecting with God right now. And God, I thank you today for loving us. I thank you, God, that no matter how much shaking is happening in your life right now, you've got to know that God never leaves you and never forsakes you. Because we think when problems happen, God's forgotten about us. He has not forgotten about you. He loves you. He is right there with you in the midst of everything you're going through. You got to know, He loves you. And God, I know that in this place today, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of problems, a lot of situations, a lot of shaking happening. And so can I invite you today, as we begin this series, can I invite you to give your problems to God? Whatever it is, listen, whatever it is. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a thing, maybe it's an event, maybe it's a circumstance, whatever it is. Would you give it to God here today? Just give it to God. Surrender it to God right now. Just give it all to God. Give it all to God. Say, God, I give this to you. 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 Just give it all to God here today. Give it all to God. Just give it all to God. And maybe there's some of you in this room today where maybe some of you, for you, it's just not giving your problems to God. It's giving yourself to God. And if you've never done that, or if you sense, I need to do that again today, give yourself to God. Just follow me in this prayer that Jesus, today I give myself to you. All myself. Jesus, I give myself to you. I surrender myself to you. My mind, my heart, my spirit, my body. God, I surrender to you. Jesus Christ, today I commit my life to you. Today could be your day. Today could be your day. And so I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. In just a moment, this band's going to be on stage with one final song. And so also in just a moment, we're going to be receiving our offering today. So if you'd be so kind as to ready your offering, that's going to happen here in just a moment. But before that happens, I got to let you know one thing. I got to let you know what happened in this room and in this building 2 nights ago on Friday night. Some of you might have noticed the chandeliers hanging in this place today. Those are not permanent. Those are just leftovers from what happened in this event this past Friday night. This past Friday night, we had one of the greatest nights on the calendar year of this place. It's called Night to Shine. Night to Shine is a prom that we throw for adults with special needs. Because adults with special needs, let's think about it, we're never invited to their high school prom. So we threw a prom for them. Hundreds of adults with special needs come to this place. Okay, they show up out here. We have limos out here. We give them a limo ride to nowhere. Just drive them around and bring them back. There's a red carpet they get out, walk down the red carpet. They get here early, and there's ladies here that help them with their makeup and their dresses, and the guys get all their shoe shines. And they dressed in the best, and dressed in tux, and dressed in these clothes and these dresses, and we give them all a meal. Everything is free. There's no charge to them. It's all on us. Everything is free. They eat a meal together, and then in this room on Friday night, this room turned into a dance place and the karaoke, and they had the time of their life. And then at the end, there's always a crowning of a king and a queen. But in this case, every guy became king and every girl became queen. And it was an awesome, awesome, awesome event. We captured just a little bit of it in video. Watch this. Can I just tell you, I love being a part of a church that does things like that. I just love it. See, those folks, they feel forgotten. They feel marginalized. But can I tell you, they're not forgotten about by God, and they're not forgotten about by us. And I just love. Thank you for being that kind of a church. Thank you for making that event happen, because it's your resources and your money that pulls off an event like that to make that happen. So God bless you. So 2 things. First, inside your program is this card we call our Connect card. If you'd be so kind to locate this, put your name on this, let them know you're here today. And today, if you said this prayer at the end with me and you made a commitment to say yes to Jesus, there's a spot on the back. If you can check that box, I'm going to send you an email with a couple quick things for you to help you get started on your journey. Also, at this time, we're receiving our offering today. So there's some envelopes in the seat backs in front of you, those envelopes. You can give in those envelopes if you want to. If you want to give electronically with text giving or online giving or debit card giving, that God has been so generous to us, we want to be generous back to him. And I want to say thank you for your generosity and for your giving, and you are making a difference. You are making a difference in people's lives, in this church, in this community, and around the world. So God bless you as you give today. The band's got a great song, and I said please remain seated till after the song, then I'll be back up on stage dismissing us all together with one final prayer. So band, you got it.